Good morning. You're tuning into the live visual YouTube broadcast that is a part of the Blog Talk Radio program of Past Generation, Lost in the Mix, Affected by Sight, hosted by none other than yours, evangelist missionary Dr. Katrina M. Sanders from the Redeemed Fellowship Outreach Ministry, Church of God in Christ, where the founder and pastor is Pastor Robert R. Sanders II. Top of the morning to you all. We're on the live radio. Actually, I'm so used to being on the radio. The live YouTube broadcast. Listen, on this morning, I have a very, very important topic to talk about. And this is regarding what your child or children are learning in the Chicago public school system. On this past week, my husband and I received an assignment from our son. And our son was given this assignment as an in-class assignment by the temporary teacher, from what I understood from the principal, Miss Miller. Stated to me late Friday night that the original teacher of the class has been on an FMLA act, as she stated with her words, end of quote. She got very upset at me because I called the media. The reason why I called the media, because 2 weeks ago when our son had presented the assignment of Chris Brown, which is written into the curriculum of music, I called and I was actually questioning what was going on with the schoolwork, because we're not used to, as parents, seeing our children bring home rap artists and hip hop artists and gang artists for a schoolwork assignment, unless you're doing something that's research and you're trying to compare. In this instance, this was not the case. The school staff, all except one, and others that not a part of it, blew me off. The one that I spoke with, she blew me off. And she did not get back in contact with me as she previously said she would. And I did not hear from the teacher. So when we received this assignment on Thursday, it sparked a curiosity to me, because our son is going to John Fisk Elementary School, located 6020 South Langley. And the teacher that is in the music class has opened up a free-for-all learning about the popular Chief Keef. Upon my husband and I research, we've been researching this young man for the last 72 hours. And we find that our mayor, Ron Emanuel, have banded him, as well as Indiana banded him. He's forfeited several concerts. He apparently must be the top thing among grammar school and high school children, next to a Twinkie. And he has been very popular. This teacher apparently is a high fan of his, because she's not only allowed the children to go onto the internet at school, which we're thinking that the internet computers are protected by firewalls somehow or another. It's been adjusted, because she pulled this assignment, as you see on the left hand side where Chief Keef picture is. She wrote my son's name on here. Now, the questions that she gave my son for this particular in-class assignment was, what was his real name? His real name is Keith Kozart. The second question, where was he placed on house arrest? His grandmother's house. I'm trying to understand that in a music curriculum, from whence I came, from St. Martin, Corpus Christi, and St. Ambrose Catholic School, and Paul Cornell Public School, we did not see this young man's name in the future among the musical composers, such as Garibaldi, such as Martin Luther, such as Bach, Beethoven, Mozart. We did not see any of these young people who have come into this generation in a part of the lineup of the all-star historical musical composers, where you learn sonnets, notes. What is a quarter note? What is a half note? What is 4 and 4 time? What is a clef? What is a staff? These are things that is not being taught to my son. And my son was taught at this same school how to play the clarinet a couple of years ago. Something went down with the teacher, Mrs. Hilgenberg, that was very, very ignorant to me from what we understood. And they ran her out of that school. So the children were literally not able to learn how to play an instrument. So I can't even find her. She's totally disappeared. But this other music teacher presented these questions to my son as an in-class assignment. If you can look and see, I tried to get all that I could because I am off my tablet. But look at the questions. Why would a child want to know why was he and where was he placed on house arrest? Why? What significance is this to their learning? Who shot Keef when he was 16? Really? 16 years old and you shot. Who shot you? The police. Why? Why are children in our school system being taught this? Then they go on to say, what Kanye West song was Chief Keef featured in? I don't like. I'm still trying to get it. Up on his release, what was the name of the video that went viral? And as you can see, he's got a little, you can kind of make out his little handwriting. Bless his little heart. He's a sixth grader. In other words, Kanye West got mad because this young man was in jail. Number 6. When did he release his second mixtape? March the 12th. What was the Chief Keef debut album? Finally Rich. Number 8. At what age did he stop attending school? So the children in grammar school that are exposed or they're listening to this young man, as well as the high school students, why do we need to know why he stopped attending school? He lived in Inglewood, attended Banner School and a couple of other schools, and just became totally out of touch with what he needed for his life. There are a lot of children that have come through a lot of hurt and shame and embarrassment from home life, but they didn't go around talking about shooting folks. I researched this young man pictures all on the internet. All I see is his pants hanging down, dreadlocks, and AK-47s. I don't understand this. Matter of fact, there was an incident this year behind where we live where a young baby in a stroller was killed by someone that was either chasing him or associated with him right behind our house. I'm going to go on. It makes me mad. Number 9. What year was Bang It? So who are you talking about? Shooting somebody or screwing somebody? Which is it? And then it says, what city was Chief Keef's loyal fan base located? Chicago. Let me give you the last one. It says, why was he placed on house arrest? Unlawful use of a weapon. I'm going in for the kill. The principal, because the school failed to call me back, as the counselor said she would, from what I've understood, according to the office staff, except for one female, I'm not going to disclose her name, I'm protecting her, but she know who she is, have nothing to do with that. The others have told me, well, we handle all the situations that come through the school, and we try to do it before the principal, before it get to the principal, and come, and try to resolve it. My question is, does Cynthia Miller know what's going on in her school? Chicago Public School Teachers Union, you protect these teachers, but you don't protect the students. You worried about getting paid, and we understand you need to get paid. We understand you need good benefits because you are entitled to that. But when you hire these principals who say, I own this school, it's my school, I run this school. I did not know that Principal Miller basically went ahead, her and her family, went and dug a hole, a groundbreaking ceremony, and built the school. Now, let me give you a history of John Fisk. My older children who are in their 30s and late 20s attended this school, and I've never had a problem regarding anything. Maybe one fight, I have a son that at the time had speech impediment, and a little boy hit him, and my son hit him back. And she asked me to come for a parent conference, and I arrived at the school at 8:15 because she said at 8:30, and we didn't get seen till almost 11:45. The school system is a joke. You hire these principals, and when you hire these principals, you turn around, and then they feel I run everything. They know how to insult the parents. They know how to disrespect the parents. Some of the office workers know how to conversate amongst each other about what parent to treat and what parent to dishonor and what parent to handle. They have done that, especially at John Fitz. We don't send our child to CPS to learn about some doggone Chief Keef, how many times he was shot, and what a house arrest crime is he on. What kind of mess is this? This young man is not an epitome of an example. It's discouraging the children from continuing their education. They go to school to learn how to read, how to do economics, math, how to be able to know what social science of the community in this world is. This is what we're dealing with. The mayor abandoned this boy. Yes, I said the mayor. He abandoned him. CPS, you dropped the ball because that teacher that gave my son this assignment with her signature on it, and might as well, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over because I want you to see what she also wrote in red. This is what she wrote in red. Does it state when he was born? My son is not exposed to this kind of music. And she forced this on him. She disrespected our home. She disrespected our method. Instead of her giving the children an assignment about Bach or Beethoven or the various styles of music, of how they, when they wrote music, how certain notes were not permitted to go into the church, meaning keys. There were certain instrumental chords that were played for the church that you did not cross over into the world. They need to know about these musical composers of history. Where was Chief Keef when I was born? I don't recall any of his music when I was in grammar school. So that means I'm old enough to be his mama. You hired these principals with a cocky attitude. You placed them in office. And what happened to the lesson plan? I taught in the Christian academy, the Christian schools. We had to write a lesson plan every month, and we had to hand it in to the administrator, which came across the desk of the principal in the Christian academy. What happened to the lesson plan? So Miss Miller called me on Friday at 6:00 p.m. from her cell phone. And she said, why did I call the media? And I had no right to. Yes, she did. She said it. And let me tell you something. Principals, when you all call a parent's house, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Because what will happen and what's going to happen right now, I'm pulling Comcast to print out the message that was recorded on my phone when she was talking, because she told me, I demand you and your husband to be in my office first thing Monday morning. And if you don't show, I'm going to write down that you refuse. That's what she said, and that's what she said she was going to do. Parent-teacher conference this Wednesday. She threatened me on the phone like I was one of her children. That don't fly with me. I'm almost 50 years old. She is not even old enough to be my mama. My daddy is 71 years old. She came at me, and I will call the media. I did email and speak with Harry Porterfield. I did send the ABC Eyewitness team a copy of the assignment. I sent Mary Mitchell. I'm not no fool. I've even talked to parents that I lived with on the block, and they told me how they are scared of their child, and they don't want the teachers to hem their kid up and mistreat their kid up in the corner. John Fisk Elementary School needs to be investigated. All of the curriculum, particularly this one, because in his grading app, it has Chris Brown. Nicki Minaj is next. And you wonder why your kids come home with a foul attitude. I go to school every day. I have a foul attitude too. Songs like that. He running around on the videos, this Chief Keef, and he put on his penis like he got a pee. And these girls that are rap artists are squeezing their privacy like they got a bad vaginal infection. This is what our children have turned out to be. And you wonder why your kids come back and they mad and they got an attitude and they throwing all type of messed up lyrics. I'm very fuming about this. And CPS, you are so dogmatic in the protecting the teachers' rights. Who is standing for the doggone children? You hire these people. Your hiring process is foul. This teacher had no business opening up and deleting or deactivating firewall so these kids can get on there, and she pulls it out. As you see, this is her handwriting. My son don't her write like this. This is the handwriting of a sixth grader. This is the handwriting of an adult. I posted on Facebook. A couple of folks say he got an A. Yeah, right. Okay, so what is it supposed to mean? Well, he needs to come out of school learning about the musical composers. If the mayor of Indiana and the mayor of the city of Chicago banned that fool, why are you all supporting him? Now I see why folk want to leave Chicago, because you're full of it. And the principal that lost her mind. She didn't want to be caught, but she told me on the phone, oh, well, I have certain staff to hire certain things to take them or take the deal with parents where I don't have to deal with it. So CPS, is this the way you teach the principals to do? Now I know why a lot of parents are homeschooling their children or putting them over in Catholic school, because they ain't got time for your foolishness. So I told her, then your staff told me to be somewhere because that was your order. Well, no, when I make it a personal appointment, then it's a real appointment. But if the staff make it, then the parents have to wait. That's what that woman told me on the phone. An educator. I did not ever think I would see the side of this woman like that. And she threatened me to lie and say, well, let's be real, Miss Miller. You called my house at 6 o'clock from your phone. Do I need to repeat your cell phone number here on national YouTube? You threatened me and my husband to be somewhere in your office on Monday morning when we already was set by your staff according to your rules, because you set your rules the way you want to set them. Why won't you tell CPS what you do and how nasty some of them women are? I had to go off on a couple of them because I'm tired of their attitudes. The most foulest women I ever known in my life don't know how to talk. Where are their degrees? I want to see it. They act worse than pigs in a stock. Hormones all over the place. You need to break up the monotony. My child is being taught this. It should be removed. If that teacher do not get her a real history book and study it, then maybe she needs to go teach gym, or maybe answer the phones, or whoever the permanent instructor is that's on, as you say, Miss Miller, the FMLA Act. Okay? I have a degree in HR. You need help in cleaning up your school? I am the one that will do it. I'm your huckleberry. I'll come in there and I will handle your HR, because apparently some of the women in there, they know who to deal with and they know who to cut off, and they don't want to be bothered because CPS in these school offices, the school workers, counselors, and deans, they talk about the parents to each other, not in front of the children, but amongst each other so they can play them off like they crazy. Where are the men at? Where are the men? This is what our child is going to school to learn. About some boy going around with weed, smoking cigarettes, in and out of jail, constant run-in with the law, but he's a model example of community. Well, by golly gee, you'd be better off putting Michael Jackson cartoon up there if you want to have to study music. This is what we're dealing with, people. This is what we're dealing with. Outright parents should be pissed off and mad. My son had a D in this, and he never had a failing grade in music. D to us is failing. She failed him on a Chris Brown. He said, Mama, I don't know. I don't know who he is. We don't expose our child to that, Principal Miller and the teacher that was dumb enough to put this up on there in the school curriculum. We don't teach him that. What gave you the right to do that? You violated our rights. When I was coming up, Millie Jackson, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, all of them had censored albums. You couldn't go to the nasty theater to see double X, single X, or triple X videos unless you were over the age of 18. The government law, the federal government law says parents view this discretion. It gives a parent the right. You stole that right from me when you gave my child this assignment. This means war. That's all it means. I want the mayor to deal with this because he runs that school. The union, stop defending them and trying to get them 2 and 3 cent pay raises when this is the kind of stuff that comes through the school, that comes to the parents' house. I am a radical about my house. You watch the movie Empire? I'm worse than Cookie. And I'm worse than the movie Law Abiding Citizen. I'm worse. Investigate the school's curriculum, the lesson plans. You should have a different process when it comes to these hiring these substitutes and permanent teachers. These teachers, I don't care if this music teacher wants to listen to Chief Keef, Fetty Wap, Lil Kim. That's her business in her house. But when she walk up and hand up in that classroom, he better have a book. I want to see a book with notes, sonnets, and musical composers. I don't want to see Chief Keef come through my door again, because if it does, she's going to wish to God she wasn't in this CPS system. I promise you that. I'm coming up against her and Miss Miller for threatening me and demanding me like I was a child. She didn't call me and talk to me and say, Dr. Sanders, let me hear what you have to say. Miss Miller can give a hootenanny about parents, and neither can them little sorry, sad office workers in there, except for one. The ones I've interacted with. Not the ones that answer the phone, but the others who have a nasty female disposition. They don't listen. They don't want to listen. This is why the parents get ruthless and start hauling off, calling folk out their name, because this is what they bring on. You worry about paying these teachers, but the parents are catching strict hell from the principal and I don't have time. I have a lot of things to do. Well, principals, let me say this to you all in general, okay? Because some of you all are good, and I'm not going to put you in with the other bad apples. But for the ones who feel that you own the world, own this. Let Chief Keef come through another parent's house. Let a Nicki Minaj and a Chris Brown and anybody else, let me find out. Parents, inbox me. My email address is drkatrinasanders@gmail.com. I promise you, it's time to clean house. Our children go to school. They go on these trips that they won't even raise money. We just spent almost $60 between now and September and now for kids to go on trips. $60. They went to Singles Farm and all they came back with was junk food and tickets. Why you didn't take the kids out to the farm and learn how to pull onions and pull cucumbers and pull beets? Why are you not teaching them agriculturalists? What's going on? The kids come to school. And another thing, when John Fisk has been on probation for over 20-some years because of their curriculum grading and academic scores were constantly falling. When they finally got ready to be on track and be good, there wasn't many fights or anything. Our mayor, and I want to be clear on this, but Mayor Ron Emanuel, you made a mistake because you did not know these schools. John Fisk had been on probation for a long time before you even became mayor. This is under the administration of Mayor Richard M. Daley. You blended A.O. Sexton, where my son is at now. Those children on the west end of Cottage Grove were ruthless than anybody I know in the city, probably on the west side. John Fisk school students was just now getting themselves together, coming off of it, and you blended them with the school that is worse than Cooley High. The parents, some of those parents, I know that school. You know why? Because when I moved in that area, when my daughter was 9 years old, my only daughter out of my 6 boys, and the girls knew she was new, they picked a fight with her. I told my daughter, if a student hit you, you better knock them out. Ain't no time to pray or put your hand on them and say, Lord, get the demon out of them. I told her, knock them out. I taught my daughter how to fight. They're not gangsters or street gangs, but I told her, honey, they hit you, hit them back, and then let the rest come to me. I'll deal with it. The little girl tried to pull her hair out of her head. She wasn't even there 2 weeks. And the girl, the 9-year-old girl, got a bunch of her friends, followed my daughter and my son's home, and they threw a brick, not a rock, a brick at my window. I went up there the next day. That's what you go to school for, is when students come and terrorize your property because, well, I don't like because her hair is long. Really? I called the police, and the parent lived in Grove Park. Why do you put my baby in there? Because your daughter made a grown-up decision when she followed my children to the house, when my daughter don't even know this girl. Lock her in up. You should have beat her behind. You should have done. And Miss Bryant, the principal there at that time, she's retired now, probably somewhere in God knows where. And the parents said, what's my daughter? But your daughter made a grown-up decision. That was, she was a member of A.O. Sexton. I took my kids out of there and called the school, McKay, where they came from. And I told them, I said, can I bring my children back over here? And Principal White at that time, he's probably retired, said, you more than welcome to. Big difference. So and by the same note, when my son was going there, the gangs, A.O. Sexton was the top school to recruit young people to replace those gang members who had been put in jail or shot and killed. So I don't think our mayor really investigated this school like he thought he should have. But if you closed out A.O. Sexton, you should have sent him to Emmett Till and let John Fisk stay on the progress that they were doing. Parents, I need you to do me a favor. Those who are much younger than me, about 10 years and 20 years, get up off your behind. Ask your children every day in school, how are they doing? Let them see your work, the work. You need to find out what's going on. The parents are the ones who are entrusting their children to be up under these leaders. For them to bring this into our home was a right that was taken from us. This teacher literally said, well, I'm going to teach your child what I want them to learn because this is what I like. No, it's not about what you like. It is about the educational system, not your personal system. I told someone on Facebook, if you all love Chief Keef, then guess what? CPS, let me give you a hint here. Maybe you'll think about this. Why don't you go ahead and take biology, science, and human physiology and anatomy out of the school curriculum, and why don't you go to the porn bookstore and load up on nothing but porn videos and put it under health and wellness in the curriculum and let the kids look at porn movies? That's what you're saying with Chief Keef. All he talk about is killing somebody, beating somebody up. Young man come from a disgruntled family. Not saying that he could have improved himself. Yes, he could have. But for a teacher to use him and to determine a grade in the curriculum, if the child failed, I told our son, I said, just do the work and I'll handle it from here. And as I told Principal Miller, you better not antagonize my child because, see, parents, let me tell you what happens when you're not around. The principal will have a meeting with the instructors, with all staff, and they would put the parent's name out there, not in front of the children, but they will also tell the teachers how to make the child feel a little uncomfortable till the parent come up here and act the fool. Oh, I know the game they pull. I've seen it happen. But this is the kind of principals you hire, CPS. You hire these kind of people. You do. You do. But you're worried about them getting paid. But you're not caring about the children and what they're learning. You hire people who do not have a social service or a people person understanding. No type of nurturing along with the professional understanding. I taught school. I know how to be able to get through to the children. But you all, some of you all are selfish and you are scared for your life. When our son had Miss Hilgenberg, she taught our son, and we paid for the lessons and for the rental of the clarinet. And he mastered the clarinet, and she recommended him to go to high school level. But something happened with the student being abusive to her and was trained how to talk by other staff to go against, and tied that teacher all up in the court system during the summer. Just because you're a position of a principal and assistant principal don't mean the hill of beings to God. It's how you treat people. You don't threaten parents and make the system think that the parents are the problem. No, you're the problem because you do something behind their back, and each of you cover up each other's mess to justify your reasoning of doing something. That's what you do. Because God see you. I've already contacted Comcast to pull the transcript when Miss Miller called and threatened me and my husband to be in her office first thing come today. All of a sudden, after Friday night call at 6 o'clock. 24-minute conversation. She don't know and didn't know nothing about it. How you not know? Don't you know what your students are being taught by the teachers? Aren't you accountable for that? Or do you just go there and stay up in your office all day and be on Facebook or Twitter? But these people going to work every day, trying to make a living, trying to give their children the best that they can give, and this is what we're subject to. Now, Chief Keef do what he do to make his money. I'm not saying it's right, because it ain't right, but he's somebody else's problem. He's Hollywood or pre-Hollywood or Kanye West or 50 Cent or 50 or whoever. All them folk. Or my oldest son, he ran it all down how that stuff go. It's a bunch of bull. And then the crazy part, my son come and say, well, mama, what's the illalala? I said, what's the illalala? What are you talking about? He said, well, it's something that they got all the Hollywood people go with devils. I said, the Illuminati. What our teacher, she opened up the computer and she told us where to go. And so now the teachers are telling the kids where to go to learn about the Illuminati. That's not music. We messed up. We already dealing with some schools allowing on another thing, the teacher comes and let the kids listen to these to the suck my so and so and stick them here and lick them there and all that in the classroom. They're allowed to listen to it. When I was in school, we heard classical music to give us a little rest and whatnot. We were not exposed to certain things. We were not exposed to these things. Even in my own house, coming out of a Pentecostal family, my daddy wasn't saved, but my daddy was a DJ. Thousands of albums. Some of them I couldn't even look at home, let alone in the school system. So CPS hired this teacher, which was approved by the principal, to teach our children about gangster hip-hop rap artists, Chief Keef, Nicki Minaj, Chris Brown, Fetty Wap. Who the heck is a Fetty Wap? What kind of name is that? Chris Brown had to go and get somebody to help him to give him an attitude because he beat the crap out of Rihanna. Nicki Minaj. I see the little Roman, y'all call her Roman princess, but her mama said on YouTube, on TV, my daughter is saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. But she takes all of her money that she makes by showing her booty and her titties and her words and grabbing her little vagina area and saying she's putting that money into tithes. Come on, get out of here. You look, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm old school. You know, we got enough going on. It's also been reported to me that the kids in the classroom, the girls are putting their booties together, twerking by touching each other's booties, booty to booty, twerking. What kind of mess is that? We might as well put porn in there and drop everything else, because you got teachers that allow these kids to see that stuff. Teachers, it's not your right to do that. You don't have a right to do that. You out of order, you're out of line, and you need to go somewhere else. If teaching is not your gift and your calling, go out there. Go to HR. Go to school for business. Heck, work in the bank. Maybe you count money a lot better. Maybe you need to move to LA. I could care less if this is going viral. I want to go viral. We're sick of it. The Illinois law sit up here and pass same-sex marriage, and now you want to teach our children that it's okay to kiss each other, boy, boy, girl, girl. Are you freaking serious? The saints are going to rise up against you all, and it'll be a war for real. We're tired of being beat down by opinions of those in leadership. We can't even allow our children to go to school to learn. People sit up and talk about Bert and Ernie was gay. We wasn't thinking about no Bert and Ernie being gay. We thought they were just two friends. When I was in the Catholic school, they had a network that we used to look at school. Video programs called The Metric System and David and Goliath. This Chicago Archdiocese, y'all can pick on the Catholics if y'all want. You better leave them alone. Better leave them alone. But this is what we're dealing with. Mayor Emanuel, I pray this get to you because I know you're a busy man. But I need you to investigate your school a little bit further. Because your school system, since everybody bought it, created it, and established it, and they just, I guess you all, the history of Chicago has just been demised because, you know, folks say it's Al Capone city. Oh, Al Capone lived here. He ain't bought crap. He bought land. Does not mean he owned the entire city. But these children that are looking at Fetty Wap and all these other folk beating up on folk, and Chief Keef, he part of the Black Peace Stone Nation. He shows into gangs here in Chicago. It's an insult. And I'm very offended. I'm in outrage. We have been disrespected. We have been dishonored. The CPS needs to reevaluate their board again. My child better not be given an assignment again, or any student be implementing. If you're going to implement rap music, compare it with someone that's decent. Go back to the Sugar Hill Gang and Curtis Blow. Go back to them and go back into New York where you had Melly Mel. They were talking about street problems. That was cleaning. Not calling nobody a B and a hoe and sucking my so-and-so and throwing up gangster signs and making dog fraternity symbols from Alpha Kappa Alpha and Phi Beta Delta, all that stuff. That's foolishness. Q dogs and all that. These folks ain't even been to college and they throwing up a sorority and fraternity signs. Really? I am done. I'm not going to take down. I'm not going to stop. But understand, the principal threatened me and my husband as if we were children. So CPS, this is how you roll. You hire people like this. You have them to threaten the parents. And then you turn around and she says, well, I'm going to tell them that you willingly refuse. You're going to lie on me because you didn't have a discussion with me. You demanded. You don't demand me for anything. This is based upon a curriculum, not a child fighting another child. Instead of you saying, Dr. Sanders, you know what, I apologize and I will issue a statement and take all responsibility because you said that you designate certain people to take on complaints so you don't have to be bothered with it. That's what you told me. And that's what your staff have told me. I have sent numerous of stuff there that you still ain't got. They probably threw it in the garbage. Because you didn't even answer the question when I said, Miss Miller, I sent you things about this. Did you get it? You got quiet. No, you didn't. So is this what the parents have to deal with CPS? And they talk about the parents have no participation. Well, this is why. Wake up! As I said, for any parents that would like to talk to me, I got your back. I'm not done. We don't have a together community over here in Woodlawn. No, none of the political leaders care about what goes on in the school, except when it's time for them to run again. Listen, I got my schoolwork to do. It's all my time. It's all my time. But you all need to pay attention to what's going on. Know what's happening, parents. Open your eyes. Ask your child every day, how was school? Let me see your work. Let me see your grades. Look at it. Don't glance. Look at it, parents. Get out of your flesh and out of yourself and know what your child is doing. A lot of kids are taking the bus to school. Another neighbor told me that. The little girls from grammar school. Yes, I sucked the penis and I went down. I was going to beat that beast so and they come home. Hi, mother. Come on now. Come on now. We need to go back. The Illinois governor, you don't know Illinois, but you about to find out how ruthless it can be. Because while you're holding back funds to help other programs, let me help you out. Your school system is being torn down. It's being torn down. You got the wrong folk in position. This one assignment, let me see about another one. I know it's scheduled for him to do Nicki Minaj. It needs to be dealt with. I'm sick of it. I want this to go viral. I already told my husband and he stands behind me, along with several other people. The questions: who shot him? Why was he on house arrest? What is that for a child in 6th grade to know? And you can see once again her writing. Her writing. She printed it out, gave it to him to read. At the bottom of this page, look at the blanks that are there with the curse words. This is his history. This is what he does. Don't give a F-U-C-K. Look at that. Just read it. I'm done for this morning. Students, if you are afraid to be taught what you need to be taught in your classroom, and you don't feel comfortable with a teacher that may have a personal vendetta against your parent or parents, or they disrespect you, tell your parents. Tell your parents. Tell them. Parents, start reading those handbooks. And also get you a journal. I do all the time. When I don't get what I want, it builds up. Since this principal told me that she is allowed to make her own rules according to CPS, they don't care. They just put them in place, let them run the school. Because remember, they put them in place, but see, she owns it because she built it. She went and hired her because she had to hold the blueprints out and everything according to her. When you say you own something, that means you made out the blueprint. You paid for it out of your pocket. Since you taught them to say things like that to parents. This is my school. I own this. I know what's going on. No, you don't. You dropped the ball on this one. How so? Because she didn't even know this was in her school. Top of the morning to you all. Again, this is a subsidiary of blogtalkradio.com. broadcast of past generation, lost in the mix, affected by sight, associated with YouTube. If you have any further positive questions, you may email me at drkatrinasanders@gmail.com, and I would be more than happy to email you back. But understand, if you email me with some foolishness, I will not reply to you. I will block you straight out. But parents need to know what's going on with your children in school. Know these teachers. And let them know who you are. And that you will be calling them every other day if need be. And they should adhere to that because you are entrusting them with your child. You better wake up and see what's going on. Until next time, you be blessed.